Welcome to another exciting episode of XTrawAI, where we extract the raw and unfiltered insights from the brightest minds in AI, innovation, and digital transformation. Today, we have a truly special guest with us, Russ Henneberry. Russ is a leading voice in AI-powered digital marketing, a renowned speaker, and the co-author of Digital Marketing for Dummies. As the founder of The Click, an AI marketing training and community platform, Russ has helped businesses and professionals harness the power of AI to drive efficiency, maximize ROI, and revolutionize content marketing, SEO, and email strategies. With a career spanning transformative projects and thousands of trained professionals, Russ is at the forefront of the AI marketing evolution. And of course, guiding this insightful conversation is none other than your host, Raghu Banda. With his deep expertise in AI, enterprise architecture, and business transformation, Raghu will dive into a thought-provoking discussion with Russ, exploring the future of AI in marketing, the biggest opportunities, the challenges, and what businesses need to do to stay ahead in the game. So sit back, tune in, and get ready for an engaging discussion on how AI is reshaping marketing strategies and redefining the way businesses connect with their audiences. The real Raghu, over to you now.
We're going to have a conversation around how do we harness AI for marketing. And in this context, I've got a guest, Mr. Russ Henneberry. Russ, welcome on board.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. So before we get into the real conversation, I have a couple of teaser questions for you, Russ. I would like to first maybe ask you this question about your back journey or your background into digital marketing and how you came over here into this digital marketing and how AI has become a key focus in your group.
So I got started in SEO and then pay-per-click, and this was back in, say, like 2004, 2005. I built a website and all that stuff, and it was my first website, and I started figuring out that SEO was a thing and that pay-per-click was a thing, and studying all of that, and really sort of dedicated myself to SEO. But I think it was probably around 2007, 2008. I read a book called Get Content, Get Customers by Joe Pulizzi from Content Marketing Institute. And I said, this is my jam right here is content marketing. So, because I had been telling my clients for a long time that SEO was only going to be as good as your content was. Mm-hmm. And then, Joe sort of put it in this, very, very clear format for me. I'm not sure if he coined the term content marketing, but he's certainly the first person I ever heard talking about it. And I sort of branded myself to content marketing, and then I learned copywriting and a lot more about marketing strategy and email and all of the things. So I think I'm kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to digital marketing. I've been doing it a long time. I wrote the book Digital Marketing for Dummies along with Ryan Deiss. But if you had to put a specialty on me, it would be in the areas of content and copywriting. And when I saw AI roll out in November of 2022, I said, okay, what's this that can write, and can write pretty well and automatically and with tremendous speed. And I thought I better learn this. And so I've been studying that very, very closely and watching. I'm also just fascinated by it, Raghu. Like I love this new technology, and I've launched a membership site with my business, The Click, and where I teach people how to use AI in marketing. And I think it's I'm finding use cases for AI in all the disciplines of digital marketing, from social media marketing, content marketing, paid traffic, analytics and optimization, copywriting, like it's touching everything. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think that's a great journey. Before we take a break and come back, I know you have trained thousands of professionals in content marketing, email marketing, and SEO. And with all this AI and generative AI stuff now taking the center seat, how do you think this is transforming the way marketers are approaching these areas? I know we'll go into much more details in the later conversation, but maybe as a starter, could you give a bit of a background?
Well, I think what we're looking for is especially like right now as the time we're doing this recording, like I think the best way to approach it, no matter what digital marketing skill you're or tactic you're employing, is to be looking at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and asking yourself the question: is there, this is the same question we've been asking for since humans started inventing tools, which is there a tool that I could leverage right now that would do this with greater speed and better quality and accuracy? And keep asking yourself that question as you're working, just like you always have, right? Like we didn't, when they came out with spreadsheets, we didn't balk at that and say like, well, we're not going to use spreadsheets. They're too fast and accurate, right? Instead, you adapt and you adopt new tools and technologies. And this one's no different. It's just this thing is changing so quickly that we have to stay on top of what the new capabilities and functionalities are. Like even today, Gemini 2.0 is out now, and it's got all this new awesome functionality and capabilities. And so the answer to the question, is there a tool that can do this faster and with greater accuracy? It seems to change on a weekly basis, right? Whether or not the answer is yes or no to that question. So no matter what discipline you're working in, keep asking yourself that question and make it part of your job to stay abreast of what's going on in the technology in your industry, which is right now is very important to be watching what's happening with AI.
Beautiful. I'm really excited to kickstart this conversation with a marketing guru like you. Let's take a quick break and come back to the conversation. Right. So welcome back. So Russ, I would like to first get into you coming from this marketing era, the marketing background, digital marketing, and then you've trained a lot of professionals. I would first want to get into the evolution of AI in marketing. So maybe I know that you have described the 8 phases of AI marketing evolution. Can you maybe briefly walk us through what do you think, what do you mean by the significance in these modern marketing strategies to start with?
Yeah, and the reason I think it's important to understand what I'm going to explain here is that I think there's a lot of businesses out there that are waiting for AI to become more intelligent, and my take has been to tell businesses that you can't afford to wait until this thing is perfect. You need to learn it now and watch it evolve. And the truth is that even if these models got no more intelligent, the development in the area of intelligence stopped right now, which, by the way, no serious person working on AI is telling us that there's any ceiling that we're hitting with intelligence. But let's just assume that the AI stopped gaining intelligence at this stage. There are still 7 other ways that business people and marketers need to be paying attention to the evolution of AI. And the first one is in the area of usability. So, for example, ChatGPT released a feature called Canvas, and Canvas is just a new user interface for the same intelligence. So it's the same level of intelligence. There's no difference in the model's ability to reason or solve problems or do anything like that. There's been no advancement there. But what we have is a better UI, a better user interface, so that we can interact with a document that we're creating on the right side of the screen and interact with that with the AI on the left side of the screen. So that would be an evolution in usability. And we're seeing this happening with the ability to speak to AI through our phones, the ability for AI to see our screens and make comments about what they're seeing on the screen, or even today, with Gemini 2.0, we're now able to allow, and actually OpenAI has just launched the ability for the AI to understand what it's seeing through the camera on your phone. So these are just adaptations in the usability of the AI that's leveraging the same level of intelligence. So even if the intelligence stays the same, the usability is going to continue to evolve and further disrupt how we do business. The second one is multimodality. So with the same level of intelligence, we are seeing AIs evolve in terms of what types of files it can input and output. So can it take in text, images, audio, video, code? Um, and so, for example, again, today we saw an evolution where Gemini Flash 2.0 is now able to take in large amounts of video and scan that video. So that is an evolution in its multimodality, its ability to take in as input things like text, image, video, audio, code, and put out as output things like text, image, video, audio, code. So again, ChatGPT evolved again this over the last few days and released its Sora model. So now we can take text in as input and we can create video out, right? So with Sora. So that's the second big way that we're seeing AI evolving. The third one is in the area of customizability. So how easy is it, and what capabilities do we have in terms of being able to bring context into the AI? So same intelligence, same level of intelligence, but being able to bring documents in easily into its knowledge base, or to fine tune the model in order to have it understand a use case and be better at some particular use case. So an example of that would be if we were to add to a custom knowledge base um, things like our personas. If you go and attach that kind of documentation to a custom GPT, or in Claude, we call it a project, and you add that, you're essentially customizing that underlying intelligence. The intelligence stays the same, but you're learning how to customize it and bring additional context in. That gets you tremendous gains in terms of the capability of the model, because it now understands the customers that you're trying to reach when you're marketing. The fourth one would be reliability. So I won't spend a lot of time here, but people know that AI creates, it can make things up, it hallucinates, it does stuff like that. And so sometimes it's unreliable. But again, we are seeing evolutions in that as well. And there are a lot of, don't worry about it. Like, there's a lot of very smart people being paid a lot of money to figure out how to make these models as reliable as possible. And then you have security, right? So the areas of security, this is something that, again, the big frontier models and these companies are figuring out, like, how can we make this secure for businesses that want to put sensitive data inside. So we're seeing major companies that have dealt with security issues, like Salesforce.com, for example, that are building AI agents and models. And these guys understand security, right? Like, Salesforce holds data for healthcare, for financial companies, and things like that. They understand security. And so this will get evolved and sorted out. And then the next one is memory. So memory is an issue in AI today. Probably by this time next year will not be an issue. But when we think about memory, what we're talking about is the ability for the AI to remember the context of a conversation. How much memory can it have before it starts to forget what you were talking to it about maybe 2 days ago, or maybe even an hour ago? You've added so much into its memory that it's starting to forget some of the things before, and that affects performance. So, what I'm hearing from Google, what I'm hearing from Microsoft, what I'm hearing from OpenAI is that we're probably a year away from basically unlimited memory or context, where there's essentially no limit to the amount of context that an AI could remember. And this opens up and unlocks tremendous use cases without changing the underlying intelligence of the systems. That makes sense? Like, it doesn't matter that the model got that much smarter. What matters is that now it can remember and apply that same level of intelligence. So even if the intelligence stays the same, and the memory gets larger or essentially infinite, you're going to see, if you think about it, incredible use cases opened up in the areas of business and marketing. And then the last one is autonomy. So autonomy is the big one, right? Like, it's the one that everyone's talking about, that agents are coming, right? That the AI will be able to take the same level of intelligence, right? And
Mhm.
understanding, like, the model doesn't need to get any smarter, but does it have the ability to go into multiple systems? Can it communicate with other AI, with different systems, to take actions on our behalf, and actually execute multi-step tasks? Is kind of what we're thinking about when we're talking about autonomy. And again, there's been an evolution in that as well, where we're seeing Google launching with Gemini 2.0 launch. They're launching a very light agent feature. Claude has launched computer use, which is an agentic type system. It's early days with this, but
Mhm.
agents are definitely another place where we can have the same level of intelligence, but we have increasing autonomy. It's another place that we're seeing evolution in AI as it relates to business.
Beautiful. I think I like the way you have laid out all these different phases of the AI marketing evolution. And I think you're ending up with this autonomy or the agentic workflow, which is where different kinds of agents can work to and towards the completion of a task.
Mhm.
Beautiful. But now I know with all these things happening, AI playing a role in these different facets of marketing, how do you, how should businesses or how should individuals prepare for this kind of evolution in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years? I know things are changing at a rapid pace, like you mentioned, like on a weekly basis. So there is a lot of, I would say, a lot of fear as well as scare as well out there, right? And that too, I mean, I know coming from a marketing background, I think you, how do you put this or how do you view this?
Well, if you think about it, like, just like any other technology, first thing we need to do is become literate. So if your business, and the team that runs your business need to become AI literate. So, and what we're finding when I go in and talk to companies, I find that, you have about half and half. You have some employees that are very excited about it. They're learning about it. They may not be using any sort of particular training platform to learn anything, but they are playing around with the AI. They're excited about it. And then you have another group of people who are sort of dragging their feet, and they don't want to
Right.
acknowledge that AI exists. They're fearful that it's going to take their job, and things like that. So I think, a major step forward for most businesses is to simply, invest in training around AI functionality. Bring your team up to some base level of understanding, and then start to look at, how can AI be used, even in the most basic ways, to
Mhm.
start to integrate into your employees' workflows. Because, what I think is going to become a very interesting metric for businesses to be looking at is a metric called revenue per employee. So how much revenue does one employee produce for the company? And what we're going to see is that companies that adopt and or are AI first, and bring AI, that number is going to climb fast, right? That a single employee will be able to produce more revenue than ever before in any time in history, and that the companies that fail to recognize this will have to keep growing their teams and their headcount, and but not producing the revenue at the pace that somebody is that's leveraging this technology. So I think we're going to see companies that focus on this metric of revenue per employee, like, you know, I'm not going to hire 3 more employees this year. I'm going to instead uh, take the employee that I have, train them, and make them more efficient. And I don't think this is going to lead to less hiring. I think this is going to lead, in the short run at least, to more hiring. There's going to be more business to be done in the short run. I don't know, I don't think anybody knows where this is going long term. Like even 10 years from now, all bets are off. But like, I think in the short run, there is going to be a massive amount of opportunity for people that do learn these tools and learn how to be a more efficient marketer, or business person, entrepreneur.
So I think that's a great point that you have raised, or you brought up, Russ. That it's not about the scare that is going on around about AI replacing jobs, but how well you can create that awareness in your employees, and how you can provide all these tool sets so that employees become more productive, and what is the revenue per employee, how you can improvise that. So this is where this thing comes up, right? Like you said, like some of the businesses take this well, some of them may not. But what are some common mistakes businesses might be making when they are trying to integrate AI into their marketing strategies, and what should they avoid, or how can they avoid?
Well, so I think the biggest mistake that I'm seeing happening is that if we go through that how we open this discussion today, it's back to the different phases of AI evolution.
Right.
The most important one that is here today, that we need to be paying attention to as business people, is customizability. So let me explain. So when your employees or you open up a new thread in ChatGPT and you ask it a question like, "Hey, I'm doing some strategic planning for the business. The year's about to turn over. It's the new year, so let's do some strategic planning. And what opportunities do you see for my business going forward in 2025?" The most frustrating thing about AI is that it will answer that question no matter what. Like, it's going to give you an answer to your question, and and you're going to run into what we call the boiled chicken problem, or what I've been calling the boiled chicken problem, which is that the output that you're going to get from an AI, a generic version of ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, is going to be boiled chicken. It's going to be generic, redundant, dry, bland, pretty much useless output for you, because the truth is it doesn't know anything about your business. The AI is broadly knowledgeable. It has absorbed more information than any one of us could in 1,000 lifetimes. And so it's broadly knowledgeable, but it still doesn't know anything about your company, the people you serve, the things that you sell, the challenges you have. And so what I spend a lot of time doing with my clients, and training people to do in the Click trainings, is how to customize AI so that it has the context that it needs to give you incredible output. So on the other hand, if you go into your AI system and you ask it to do some strategic planning with you for 2025 or whatever, and it has context, so you've customized that AI. And this is not technical at all, right? This is about being able to create documentation about your company, about your offers, about your personas, about your business goals, and things like that, and giving that to the AI, like attaching that to a generic AI that costs $20 a month, right? So for this incredible super intelligence. And when you properly customize it, you will be astonished at how useful and incredibly powerful the AI can be, as compared to the generic version that doesn't know, that it's broadly knowledgeable, like incredibly knowledgeable. You could ask it about anything and it's going to answer you, but it's probably going to be very basic, particularly in the area of business and marketing, until you go and you add context to it, and then you'll find that your AI becomes um, essentially a marketing consultant for you that costs $20 a month.
Right, right. I like the point that you have brought up, Russ, that any question you ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, you definitely get a response back, which is both interesting and scary as well. Which takes us to the aspect of how do you add context into this whole thing so that you get a better response out, which means that now there is a lot of buzz around these basic prompting techniques as a solution to some of these AI inefficiencies. But do you believe it is just that prompting, or like as you mentioned, a bit more of context when you're trying to address these things? Or do you think, are there any other deeper issues out there that we need to address? So,
Well,
do you want to have your thoughts around that?
good question. And it's a good question. I think that there is a lot of value in learning prompting. So I teach a prompting formula called RTIF, which is role, task, input, format. So what role do you want the AI to take in this particular conversation? What is its task? What input are you bringing into the conversation? Whether that's a set of data or a video or a transcript of something, or something you want it to organize or something, what input? And then the last one is the format. Like, how do you want this to come back in the form of a table and bulleted list and a narrative form? Like, how do you want it to come back? And I think that understanding of how to create a good prompt is still, it's very, very useful. But if you think about what you're doing there by adding a role and a task and the input and the format, is you're bringing context into that conversation. And there's actually 4 layers of context and customization that we can bring into an AI, and the prompt is the last one. Like it's the so if we think about this in the like it's a set of Russian dolls, right? Where there's a smaller one inside of a smaller one. At the highest level, for when you open ChatGPT, you can set instructions and context at the model level. Like at the very, very highest level, you can have custom instructions. If you go inside of ChatGPT and you go in your settings, you can change some things about how your instance of ChatGPT works. And that is the largest container of context and customization that you can make. And then it goes down deeper from there. So on the inside of that Russian doll, the container of the entire model, in ChatGPT, you have something called custom GPTs, where you can create a container essentially that has its own set of custom instructions and knowledge, right? And that is the layer that I think most businesses need to be paying most attention to, is that layer inside of the larger model, which is learn how to create basic, like custom GPTs do not require you to be a coder or a developer or any of those things, and learn how to play around with those. So for example, today in the clicks, we do a Thursday training, and today we built client proposals, like marketing proposals using ChatGPT, and we just built a little simple custom GPT that had the instructions like, here's what a good marketing proposal looks like. And we built a GPT, and it took us like 10 minutes to build this GPT that could very, very quickly create marketing proposals. And it's that layer of customizability and context. In ChatGPT, this layer is called a custom GPT as of this recording. That could change what they call that and whatever. And then over at Claude, we call this a project. So over at Claude, you have a project. You can attach knowledge to that project and create an instance, like a container inside of the larger Claude model that has custom instructions and context. And so this is for me, most businesses need to focus here. Like, how do you understand? Do you understand how to create these little custom AI that you can use with your little $20 a month subscription to ChatGPT or Claude? It's amazing what you can do with it. But certainly understanding prompting, remember that prompts are what happens inside of those containers. So again, you go down inside those Russian dolls, where that you go in another layer, and then you get context that can be added to a prompt as well. So the whole key to getting really great output from AI is understanding customization and context. Like, can you customize and bring context, in other words, data into the party? Because otherwise, you are leveraging the same broadly knowledgeable AI that every business has access to. So where is the leverage in AI today, and where is it going to be going forward? It's going to be in what data are you able to bring into the conversation? Do you understand that, the customization and context of the AI? Because the fact of the matter is that intelligence has become a commodity. It costs $20 a month and everybody has it. So you've got to learn how to bring your own custom data and customize and add context to the AI in order to get the leverage that you need in business today.
Right. Beautiful. I think I completely echo with your thoughts and with your what you have mentioned, right? Like, now intelligence is no longer a piece that it can be now available for everybody. And the thing is, like, how well you can customize and contextualize it for your needs or for your customer needs, it brings the home the advantage.
Right.
Maybe I think this is where, do you want to briefly talk about your platform, the Click, which is a hub for this AI-powered marketing? And then maybe in the context of an example, we don't need to talk the names of the customers, but I think maybe if you could take an example and explain so that the audience could get a bit more understanding about your platform and in the context of a use case.
Well, so the Click is a AI training and community platform for marketers that aren't dabbling around with AI. I keep it fairly inexpensive. It's basically like Netflix prices to be a member of the Click. It's available over at jointheclick.ai. And so there's basically two arms to what I offer. One is that membership site, and then the other one is AI training and implementation for teams, like larger teams where I'm going to come in, raise the level of AI literacy to a high level, and then help to identify use cases and implement AI into people's workflow so that they're getting more done faster and with greater quality. It's a lot of fun to work on these projects. On the membership side, we do I shoot courses and we do weekly trainings on and stay up to date on what the AIs are capable of and how that impacts marketers and entrepreneurs. And then on the training and implementation side, I can only take so many of those kinds of clients, but I really enjoy working with teams to try to identify the right use cases for AI and how they can implement it, and sort of like calming them down and helping them understand that, like, this isn't coming for your job. It's coming. It's going to come for your job if you don't learn it. But if you just go ahead and learn the technology, just like anything else, like, you're going to be just fine, and everything's going to keep moving forward for you. So yeah, that's really what I'm offering at through the Click, and all that's over at jointheclick.ai.
Beautiful. So what is that piece of advice that you would like to give to businesses or marketers who's trying to explore these kind of AI's potential when they are trying to integrate into their operations? Any particular advice that you would like to provide? Because there are, like you said, like there are like a lot of small and medium businesses who don't even understand, I think, how there's a lot of scare out there, a lot of fear out there about these marketing campaigns that you have. Any particular advice?
Yeah, I think my advice is to really look deeply into not just like I think if the way that you've adopted AI so far is to build, let's say, a prompt library full of maybe it's a Google Drive or something where you're holding a whole bunch of prompts that are supposed to be some magical set of prompts that will execute on things. I think you need to look into how simple it is to customize. And again, this is what we cover at jointheclick.ai is we're very heavily into customizing AI in the simplest way possible, right? Like using off-the-shelf tools because they've made it so easy. But if your way of adopting and moving forward with AI is to have a big prompt library where you're trying to hold everything, or maybe you're not doing anything with it at all, there's nothing wrong with having these, massive giant prompts. There are a lot of times where those are very useful, but most of the time you don't need a bigger and better prompt. You need more context and you need more customization to the AI that you're using. And then you'll find that you can just sit there and have a conversation with it in the same way that Raghu and I are talking right now. We can, because Raghu has a set of context coming into this. He knows who I am. I know who he is. I know what he's interested in. Like I know he's written a book about AI, for example. Like there's a whole bunch of context that we have that allow us to have this conversation without having these big, long, crazy prompts. And the same is true for the use of your AI. If you bring customization in, it has that context. And so there's a different problem, Raghu, that I think might be useful to discuss, which is called the cold start problem. So the cold start problem is this issue that every time we fire up an AI, we are starting from scratch. There is no memory there. There is no context there, right? And so we have to start with this cold AI and if we're going to use it and get anything out of it, we've got to start by bringing in these big long prompts about what we're trying to do and who we're trying to reach and what we're trying to sell and what's the business that we're doing. So if we're going to get anything useful out of it, we're going to have to sit there and spend a half hour, an hour just prepping that thread and getting that AI up to speed and getting it the context that it needs to get you some output. And again, understanding the process that we teach at the Click, which is called the AI Marketing Hub. So this is a workshop that we do. It takes a couple of hours to build that context. And once you bolt it into your AI, and bolting it in is as simple as attaching PDF files, just like you would an email. This is not a technical process. And once you do that, you find that you don't need these big, long prompts. You don't need to prep the AI for a half hour. You can open up your version of ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever, and you can start a conversation right where you left off because it's got this bolted into its memory. It's just like coming into work in the morning and you've got the employees that work there that they've known what's been going on in the company for days, months, years, right? So they have all that context. You don't have to start every day at work with your employees and say, okay, let me just tell you what we sell and what we do and who we are and all this stuff. Like your employees have context, right? Your AI needs context too. Your AI needs training and it needs the things to be bolted into its permanent memory, its permanent knowledge base. And it's much easier than you think it would be to do this.
Beautiful. I think I like the aspects of the context that you talk about, how it is important for an individual, how it can be more important for AI, because now that I think there is generically a lot of things that are out there. So with this, I know having some interesting conversation, I generally try to come up with this interesting question as part of our, I term this $1 million or $1 billion question from the XTrawAI podcast. I know there is a lot of competition out there, a lot of things going on out there. How do you or your firm, how do you differentiate yourself? What is that uniqueness? One word or one phrase or one sentence, or maybe you would like to. explain if you have
What is the one phrase that makes me unique?
your firm or
Well, so I'm out there competing with other people that are in the education and training business.
Mhm.
And you know, the thing that sets us apart is that we use a sandbox method to teach this stuff. I think it's the best way to learn um, AI marketing is through a sandbox method, which is basically means that we don't just teach you like concepts and things. Instead, we give you a bunch of activities to go and do right there inside the AI. We give you the assets that you need, whether they're files or different things. And it's actually a lot of fun where, we'll have a session where, like I said, today we built client proposals using AI. And so there were two assets that came along with that particular sandbox, and there's a few prompts that we use and some understanding of what's a good client proposal and things like that goes along with that training. But it's an hour long, and you're actually in the AI, like playing with it, like attaching files, running
Mhm.
prompts, and sort of experimenting with the different capabilities and functionality of the AI. And I think that sets us apart. It's what our members tell us is that they just love the sandbox approach where
Right.
instead of just telling me, about this stuff, like let's actually get in there and do it.
Beautiful. I like the way that you're explaining, taking so that your members, when they get onto the platform, they understand, they play with the platform, they are in that, and then they can take this when they go back and they work on their projects or on their tasks. Any, I know we are coming to the close to the conversation. Any closing remarks or key takeaways that you would like to provide to our audience? And if they would like to reach out to you, what is the best way that it could?
Well, if you want to check out what I'm doing with the Click, it's at jointheclick.ai. Again, we have a membership there that's I try to keep it super inexpensive. There's a lot of members in there talking about AI inside the community, and we're putting out trainings all the time that are a lot of fun. And the other place is at LinkedIn. So I'm always over on LinkedIn, publishing, but also just chatting and talking with other people that are interested in marketing and entrepreneurship and AI. So my final piece of advice is just jump in there with both feet. If you're not in the pool yet, like jump in. There's the weird thing about this, Raghu, is that as advanced as these models have become, if you decide to get and own AI as a skill set, you would be an early adopter today. So you would be early. And one of the things that I have seen over the years being in business and marketing is that it's the people that adopt these trends early. And I just have never seen something that is so clearly going to be filled and already is filled with opportunity as this technology. I've never seen anything like it. And I lived through the internet, boom. When I got started in marketing, I was in direct mail. And then I got into digital because I saw, okay, the internet is going to be a thing. Like it's
Right.
clearly going to be a thing. But I didn't get into the internet until 2004, 2005. There's a lot of people that are already, you know,
Right.
veterans in there by the time I got in there. But I was still a very early adopter of the internet, and I have been an early adopter of AI
Mhm.
technology as it relates to business. We can debate its ethics and its morals and all of this stuff, but I can just tell you that it's here to stay, and it's going to bring tremendous opportunity to the people that jump in and learn it and figure out how this is going to work. And then in the end of the day, it's going to eliminate anybody that just decides that they're just going to stay back um, and, and, and not adopt it. Like we've seen it, over and over and over again as technology evolves, and there's just never been anything like this that I've ever seen in my life. I don't know about you.
Right.
Uh, it's, it's pretty incredible.
No, that's some very beautiful piece of advice, Russ, and I completely echo with your thoughts that I think it is that piece of advice that, yeah, you had to jump right in there and learn the technology, and then That's how you can use it on a regular basis as you go. Thanks for your time. I really loved this conversation.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much, Russ, for joining us today and sharing your invaluable insights into how AI is reshaping the marketing landscape. It's been an absolute pleasure learning from your expertise and your insights, learning from your thoughts on leveraging AI for greater efficiency and impact in this digital marketing landscape. And to all you listeners, thank you for tuning in into this episode of XTrawAI. We hope you found the conversation as enlightening and as inspiring as we did. Remember, the possibilities with AI are vast, and the conversations like these are just at the tip of this iceberg. As you all know, I will be tagging Mr. Russ on the LinkedIn post. So if you have any further questions or if you would like to engage with him, you can directly reach out to Mr. Russ. Alternatively, you can reach out to me, Raghu Banda, on my LinkedIn profile, and I can put you in touch with Russ. As always, you can also reach out to me on my other social media channels like Twitter, X, Blue Sky, or Threads with my social media handle, Banda. And of course, you can reach out to our website, XTrawAI.com, XTrawAI.com, to find many more interesting conversations. And you know that we are also available on all the different podcasting platforms. And stay tuned as we have an exciting lineup of episodes planned for this new year, from exploring the latest AI innovations to hearing from different industry trailblazers. There's so much more to come. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the raw potential of AI. See you in the next episode. Until then, have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Happy predicting the future with AI technologies. This is your host, Raghu Banda, signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.